What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to the Neighborhood Podcast. I'm one of the hosts of the podcast. My name is Kyle Dabro. So, this is a little bit different for me. I know Kevin's not here, but this is going to be our first live stream as a channel. So, what we're going to do in this stream is we're going to talk about the Phoenix Suns advancing to the NBA Finals after defeating the Los Angeles Clippers last night in Game 6 of the Western Conference Finals. And this was just a phenomenal performance overall by the Suns. And they really took it to the Clippers in the second half of this game. Because going into the second half, I forget at which point in particular, the Suns were only up by 8 points. The Clippers were kind of making a late push in the third quarter. I believe they went on a 10-0 run to get the lead for the Clippers, to get the lead for the Suns down to 8 points. And then the Suns just proceeded to just annihilate the Clippers in the fourth quarter. And the Suns were outstanding in the fourth quarter, and they were really led by Chris Paul. Chris Paul was sensational in this game, like it says in the box score in the window right here. Chris Paul had 41 points on 16 to 24 shooting. He's shooting 66% from the field. I mean, that is extremely difficult to combat against if you're the Clippers. And that was despite having, a pretty valiant effort in the third quarter to try to make it back into this game, but it was just too much Chris Paul. And Devin Booker, he had an okay game. It wasn't like anything that he had done in the first game of the series where he dropped over 40 points in a triple-double, but he was able to get some shots, scored over 20 points for them, and made a sizable impact, but it was largely Chris Paul leading the way. And, I mean, look at the score. The Suns won by damn near 30 points, and the Clippers are the home team here. So, you got to give a lot of credit for Phoenix for hanging tough, because after that Game 5 loss at home where Paul George dropped over 40 points in the win for the Clippers, there was possibly some, I don't want to say issues with the Suns, but there was going to be quite a bit of hesitation for the Suns had they lost Game 6 and then the Clippers forced a Game 7. And then at that point, it's anybody's game at that point. So the Suns were able to come up here, and they were able to come up big, and they advanced to the finals. And the way that I see it, just the way that Phoenix is constructed here from top to bottom, obviously you got Chris Paul, Devin Booker, and DeAndre Ayton leading the way. But their role players have stepped up huge for them, not just in the Clippers series, but in all of the playoff series that they've had so far. Yeah, that was against the Lakers, against Denver, and now against the Clippers. I'm talking like Cameron Payne, Mikal Bridges, Cameron Johnson. These guys are providing crucial minutes for the Suns, and they're stepping up in a big way for Monty Williams. And Monty Williams, I got to give this guy a lot of credit for assembling the team that he has and being able to get these guys to buy in to what he's trying to convey to them. It has worked. It has worked ever since that they were in the bubble, where they almost made their way into the playoffs last year. And they have just built upon that success that they had in the bubble last year, and it has resulted in an NBA Finals appearance. So you got to give a lot of credit to Monty Williams. I know he didn't get NBA Coach of the Year, but in my eyes, he was my pick for the Coach of the Year. They gave it to Tom Thibodeau with the New York Knicks. But, hey, Monty Williams has earned his place as one of the best coaches in the NBA. And I really do believe that, the Phoenix Suns here, they're set up for not just success this season, but long-term success as well. And it's in large part due to what Monty Williams has established as far as the culture goes in Phoenix. And just to kind of give you guys like a quick preview of what I think the Suns can do in the finals. Look, I think that they're my favorite to win the finals right now. Granted, we still have the Eastern Conference playoffs going on between the Milwaukee Bucks and the Atlanta Hawks. That series is still ongoing. It's really anybody's guess right now who's going to win that series, just because of the injuries that are affecting the superstars for both teams. Trae Young is still dealing with that ankle issue that he suffered in Game 3. Giannis had a potentially devastating knee injury in Game 4, but from what I've read so far, there was no structural damage in his knees, so he avoided any sort of significant injury from that in game 4. But his status for the rest of the series is up in the air, and it wouldn't surprise me if he's out for the rest of the series. I think Trey has a better likelihood of getting back into this series than Giannis does, and that does kind of put Milwaukee in a bind here because they really do rely on Giannis's impact offensively and defensively to carry the team. So when I look at Phoenix, though, the way that they're constructed, I think they have the advantage against both teams just because nobody has really been able to slow them down offensively. And defensively, they've been capable of holding their own against formidable teams that they've played against in the Western Conference playoffs so far. So I think the Suns, depending on who they play, I think they're going to win both cases here. I think they could beat the Bucks if the Bucks get to the finals, and I think they could beat the Hawks as well. But, we'll kind of have to see how it goes, whether or not, Trey or Giannis get back into the lineup. That could definitely change some things. So we'll kind of keep that idea on the back burner for now. But I do want to mention the Clippers here because they were going up against the Suns. I thought the Clippers had a valiant effort throughout this series against Phoenix. Look, they didn't have Kawhi, and Kawhi's their number one guy. And the fact that Paul George and some of the role players like Reggie Jackson, Marcus Morris, DeMarcus Cousins, and Terrence Mann, the fact that these guys were able to get this series to 6 games is really in credit due to the effort that they bestowed on the court, and Tyronn Lue to a certain extent as well. So I'm not going to say that, Tyronn Lue is the best coach in the NBA, like Stephen A. Smith was saying a couple days ago after they won Game 5 in Phoenix. I'm not going to go that far. But Tyronn Lue, he definitely made his presence felt here. And I think he was able to get these guys in a position where they had the best opportunity to win. It just didn't work out because you don't have Kawhi on the court. You're really in a bind here. Don't get me wrong, Paul George is a solid player. But going up against a juggernaut like what Phoenix has, it's a lot of pressure and a lot of weight for one guy to carry, and it proved to be a little bit too much here. All in all, I thought Paul George had a pretty solid series. That is despite the fact that he had some missteps throughout the series as well. Missing those late game free throws in game 2 did not help because there was a real possibility that the Clippers could have gone back to LA for game 3, tied 1-1, but he misses those free throws. DeAndre Ayton gets the game-winning dunk at the end of game 2, and the Clippers go down 2-0 in that series, and it really kind of put them in a hole. I think that series would have flipped entirely had the Clippers split the first 2 games in Phoenix, but it didn't happen. But outside of the missed free throws late in the game that Paul George had in specific instances throughout the series, I thought he played a pretty solid series. I thought Reggie Jackson had some shining moments as well. I thought Marcus Morris chipped in here and there. So, they had some players step up for them, but it was just not enough against the Suns. And look, the Suns are a team on the rise. I don't know if I say that they're a team that's going to win it all for the next 3 to 4 years, but I think that the Suns are set up for some long-term success here. And who knows, man? This is a team that is very young. They've got a great veteran leader in Chris Paul. And I should mention the fact that this is Chris Paul's first finals appearance as a NBA professional. So I got to give a lot of credit and respect for Chris Paul for sticking it out for all these years. He's been in the league for over 15 years, and he's finally reaping the benefits of success in Phoenix, and he's setting himself up for a chance to win his first finals as an NBA player. So I'm definitely looking forward to possibly seeing that possibility become a reality here. So I'll definitely be paying attention to that. But outside of that, that's pretty much all I got to say about this. I'm definitely going to be focused on the NBA Finals once it is set up. Obviously, we have Phoenix here already. We're going to have to watch the Bucks and the Hawks series as that one continues. Game 5 is tonight. So Kevin and I, we already did a video giving our predictions for that. You guys can check that out. It is on our channel. So if you guys want to check out any more content regarding that, it's already up. It's already uploaded. And other than that, that's pretty much it. We got the Stanley Cup going on currently, so that it's going to be fun to watch. The Lightning are up 2-0 in the series against the Montreal Canadiens. The series transitions back to Montreal for games 3 and 4, so I will definitely be keeping an eye on that. And then whatever sort of news pops up in the sports world, it doesn't really matter which league it is. Kevin and I are going to do our best to provide you guys the best content that we can moving forward from here on out. So with that said, you guys, appreciate you guys tuning in, watching the stream. If you guys liked it, please like it, comment, subscribe to the channel. Really, any sort of support that we can get for the channel, Kevin and I definitely appreciate it. And we will see you guys in another video or another episode whenever Kevin and I record one. So